Immersive sims are some of my favorite games. Dishonored, System Shock 2, one was okay. The Thief series, not that one. The Deus Ex game, certainly not that one. And Prey, a lot. I really like that game. They're always the most unique, and the amount of freedom they give you always has me replaying them. Peripeteia very quickly found its way on that list because I love this game, and I'm gonna tell you why. I like Polish Deus Ex. Now, I may be a little late to covering this. I don't normally cover early access games, but I can't stress enough how much I like Peripeteia. What's a better spot to start with than with our main character? You play as Marie, a character where the devs just combined Jensen and Kusanagi and called it a day. I don't blame them. She looks nice. The anime eyes really brings out the peak in her design. God dang, Marie, you're short. I'd like to describe her as the last living anime girl in a deteriorating cyberpunk city that is extremely moody and sometimes terrifying. She's cute. Know your place, Marie. She was probably a psych patient at some point, but I'm okay with this. She has amnesia, but is plagued by visions of a bunker, which is her sole motive, finding it. When she's not girl rotting in her bed or aura farming, she's talking to her cactus, yeah, she's not doing well, or insulting her femcel alcoholic friend who lives with rats. You could say she's having a hard time, or living the dream, depending on who you ask. Through her eyes, you'll be exploring one of the most visually impressive environments I've seen in a long while, assisting different factions to get information to help you along the way, and going through hell itself. With all that being said, let's talk about the world. I think what had me enthralled was the scale and the look of the city you'll be exploring. Each zone stands out and the atmosphere never breaks. The rain helps, but honestly, that's cheating. Now the skyboxes and the background art for many of these areas is fantastic. I am a sucker for good background art. The dark buildings contrast so well with the blue and green lighting, and despite 90% of this game being dark and gloomy and a little depressing, some areas still stand out because again, they contrast so well. There's never a moment I didn't stop and just take in the scenery. Whoever was responsible for these skyboxes, or hell, just the environments in general, let me know in the comments. And the rain just ties it all together because it's a vibe. There isn't a single him reaction image that can emphasize the feelings I get when playing this game. When it comes to the actual exploration, it's pretty good, but a little overwhelming because the scale and just how much there is to see. One thing I like about immersive sims is how they use open levels, which is a perfect middle ground of being linear while leaving room to explore. Everything is gigantic and it makes you want to climb it and explore it, see if there's any secrets to find. If you see a spot, you can probably get there. I lied, I'm actually below it. My favorite thing to do was take a leap and just see how far I could go. And you'll be dropping for a while because again, these levels are huge. You know, I'm getting really close to the ground here. Part of the Peripeteia experience is not knowing if you'll find a strange mechanical formation, the rare sight of vegetation, or a biomechanical horror that goes well beyond your comprehension. It ties in greatly with the gameplay because there's always something new to find. From different routes, random hallways that kind of make no sense, various NPCs that flesh out the world and that give you direction, new equipment, or a new way to complete your objective. You don't want to help the tutorial man? That's okay, just talk to your local schizophrenic and she will give you a number. All you have to do is wait a long time. It's very common for you to pick a direction to walk towards, you take a few steps, then you turn back to see what other options you have because there really is just that much variety. Here's a good example. On the final level, which is amazing, oh my god, this train ride is gorgeous. Smog has a strange beauty to it and it feels very alien. Ninth exit is really cooked here. There are many paths you can take. You could work for this guy who runs the trains because he loves trains, and you can literally ask him about trains and get many facts regarding trains. However, I didn't do that. Instead, I walked into a building and I met a local homeless man inside of a bathroom with a flamethrower and accepted his quest to purge something in the sewers. Yeah, I think he's a trustworthy guy. Lead on, my dude. He's this combination of a salamander and a black templar, yet he's somehow more zealous. He's a pretty chill dude. We enter the sewers to purge an abomination, and doing so unlocks an alternate path to the controls that power up the train, where you can ride that thing and just start aura farming when the camera's not fighting against you. Now, I may have summed it up fast, but I think it's a solid example to get my point across. Peripeteia is big. The levels drag on. You will spend over an hour, and that's being generous, in each mission. But with all that being said, let's talk more about the gameplay mechanics. Marie wakes up inside of a scrap heap with no memories other than the visions of the bunker. There is a cassette player with a tape, but it's incoherent.
When discussing ancient Babylonian demons,
climb up and you'll be introduced to Filemon. He was gonna remove our augments, but it's okay because I robbed his store as payback. Also tested to see if this was a good video game. Here, he will give you your first augment. Now, you know me, I went with the thermoptic camo because you know I'm gonna LARP as one of the baddest bitches in anime. The augments are fun to play with, some much better than others. Sensory-induced time dilation, yeah, I'm not pronouncing it like that every time. The reflex booster is a favorite of mine because it gives you slow-mo and that's always fun. Side note. No, not there. God dang it, Free. These Marie icons are cute. I love them. Whoever the artist is, let me know in the comments. And in case you were wondering, yes, I do replace the Vault Boy with Vault Girl icons every chance I get. No, I won't show you examples. I want to keep this video monetized. You have the Strength upgrade, which reduces recoil and allows you to carry heavier objects, but the physics still kind of suck. Enemies were too spaced out for me, so I never had an opportunity to throw anything, but I did here. Sorry, my dude, but it's just business. Then there's the recon drone. I forgot this was in the game. Dual wielding. I didn't like it. One augment I forgot about is the interface possession. Now, I didn't use it much, but it looks really interesting, honestly kind of scary. Definitely is going to be one I'll use on a repeat playthrough. The most useful, other than the night vision, this game gets really dark, is the movement enhancer. You move faster, jump further, obviously helping with exploration, and it can be used for combat to dart from cover to cover or to close a gap on the enemy. This is my most used augment, and it's so versatile. I love it. Now, regardless of what you pick, you'll find your own uses with each augment. But for these three, there's no reason to not use them. Let's talk about combat. ADSing is horrid, but hip firing feels nice, especially when you have enough ammo. The difficulty lies with the enemies. You'll be fighting augmented homeless guys with gas masks. If you keep moving and are at a distance, they will rarely hit you. Same if you're high up. Problem lies with how close they are. Peripeteia, I'd argue, is a horror game outside the silly place. The scariest thing to happen to you is when you're around a corner and a Polish guy sprints out and one-taps you. Yeah, every time they jump scared me, I never felt any remorse for when I got payback on them. Yeah, combat's pretty nice. There are more terrifying enemies, but we'll get to them later, don't you worry. There isn't much enemy variety outside of the silly place, but there is one example. A foe crafted with such a technique that it's simple but effective. It's called not mixing the audio properly. I don't know which developer decided to give this thing an automatic version of the needle gun from Fear, but I want you to know, you can always do better in life. Jokes aside, it's a good weapon, really fun to use. You know, I may not be a storm, but broski, I am certainly approaching. And no, I don't know who this creature is, but they were removed, and this monster replaces them. So I don't know what's scarier, the fact that I should be thankful, or the idea that it used to be worse. Lastly, I'll talk about the climbing. I love the climbing mechanic. You'd think it would be the jankiest, but I didn't have any issues with it. You'll clamp onto something and you can begin ascending by spamming space. I can't enter? Too bad. I'm already on your roof, and I completed the mission, accidentally. Don't check your walls though, please. It took me forever to get in there. You get the idea. So with all the gameplay mechanics summed up, let me show you how exploration works in practice. After struggling with the game's physics, okay Marie, you got that. Oh god dang it, Marie! I climb the ladder and fetch the saber. It's our main melee weapon, carries over between levels, and it works well with the cloak when the hitboxes work. My favorite use for it is sneaking up on a guard and abducting them. The homeless men are free. You can take them. Sorry, girly girl, but there can only be one anime girl in Cyberpunk Poland. In case you're wondering, no, they never found her. I'm the last anime girl in a Cyberpunk Poland. Marie's been dodging the doctors for about 3 years. You look into her eyes and tell me there's a conscience. So I travel across the balconies and make my way onto the roof of a neighboring building. Now, what you're meant to do is break this window and take this cable car. I, however, did not know this. I walked across the actual cable instead. But it's a nice view. Gives me an eerie feeling with the green colors mixed in, feels very apocalyptic and reminds me of the toxic anomalies from Stalker. Before they ruined it. Anyway, I make my way inside, and here you can see the cloak in action. Works well until it doesn't, but most of the time it works. If you check the additional levels, you can loot lockers for new weapons, like this bullpup rifle that's good, and the flamethrower. Spoiler alert. The flamethrower. Now, I will admit, part of the fun of finding a new weapon is just trying to get the thing to fit in your inventory. I don't know what a kiln gun is, but I'm not fitting this shit inside, so no. I'm able to bypass most of the guards until I can power on the lift, which takes me to the leader. On him is a silenced pistol. We're close, but there's one more thing I need. I backtrack, I take a route to the underground, which leads me to a priest. Ignore him, we'll talk about him in a minute. I slide down and oh my god, I'm in a graveyard. Exit out to the plaza. I go down an alleyway because inside of this trash can are a ton of magazines for a newly found weapon. Why are they here? No idea, but I found them, and my god, I'm gonna use them. Because I love this thing. After riding the longest elevator of my life because I tried finding this girl for the bit, I retreat into the sewers to climb up this pipe, which takes me to a giant fan. Oh, fuck. I work my way down and begin lurking through the car park. Fun fact, I did not know this was in the game. Sneaking my way down to the objective. I can't describe how cool walking towards this feels, man. We find a dismantled android who's lost track of time. She begs us not to turn off the device, but she does mention Filemon, so I decided to take her to him so she doesn't have to be alone. Because, you know, that stuff sucks. So you know what, I'll help you up the ladder. Sure thing, girl. See, that wasn't so hard. Hey, yo, Pre's my dude. Here's that chip. Appreciate it, man. I'm kidding. I still took the relic for the money because I'm a bad person, but I helped the android because I'm not a bad person. She's happy, so that's all that matters. Completing this task opens up the train, which, upon boarding, will end the level, but I'm not finished yet. There are these monitors you'll find, and their rhetoric makes an average VTuber chatter look medicated, so I was curious. I see this glow across the water, like it was calling out for me. I wanted to explore it, but there's a problem. Does water hurt me? I wanted to see what was across. Even though the invisible walls tried to stop me, I didn't give up. Movement Aug, my beloved. This led me to a long walkway. The end leads me to a skateboard park. Sick, dude. And then there's this guy. Look, I don't know what he's yapping about, and he may be a terrible person, but I only have beef with him because he did this to me. Oh, so we cool, man? Ah, I see. I told you mercy wasn't part of Marie's vocabulary. This is what I mean by exploration being peak. I wanted to see if I could go somewhere, so I tried, and I was rewarded with content. And even though the exterior of this skate park looks like it's an unfinished level, but the fact that there was something for me to see here is awesome. Now you're probably asking, Kobe, how do you get back? Well, you see, I didn't get that far. After that ordeal, we can rest inside of our apartment, drink some beer, bed rot and disassociate with the music. We won't judge you, we understand. Talk to our pet cactus or femcell chan, I don't remember her name or calling her that. Only wish the apartment would get expanded on in future updates because there isn't that much to do here. No other NPCs to talk to, no rooms to break into. There's even a shop but you can't access it. You can't even cross the street because it's chained off with a fence. Turning this into a small hub area I think would be fantastic. I would love to see that. Once we're ready we can use the terminal, which is very lane coded. I'm sorry, why did I say that? Which brings us to my first big issue with Peripeteia. The inventory isn't persistent. This was a jarring realization on launch day because that entire run I had mapped in the back of my mind is now useless because it doesn't carry over, which defeats the purpose of being thorough. I won't dwell on it since the developers are probably sick and tired of hearing about it, but it's still a negative for me that I gotta bring up. I heard many YouTubers defend this by arguing that it does influence exploration, which it does to be fair, but I'm me, so no, this sucks. I have no idea why progression like this isn't even in the game. Ninth Exodus is slowly fixing it because on launch day your augments didn't carry over, but now they do, which is nice, so the run isn't completely ruined. Another is money. Exploration is technically rewarding if you sell it like I did with that relic. It's only if you care enough though. I see this room with stims, I want to enter it, but I don't care enough for them because by the time I complete the mission, it makes looting them completely redundant because they would just disappear the moment I board the train unless I just sold them for some extra cash, which I'm not even gonna bother doing that. Now, let's go back to the positives, and that brings us to the chasm. See this, I like this is cute. I love the chasm. Just stepping outside and looking at the city completely awestruck, realizing that you'll be spending a good hour or two stuck here. Now below you, that isn't set dressing either. I took this elevator to the bottom, and I ran out of the green hall and into the pouring streets, and I was just mesmerized by how cool this world is. The scale of it is all just so distracting. Is that a tank? I started by gathering information, which led me to 3 characters. This soldier gives me directions to proceed with the main quest, but then I directed my attention to this guard who has a rifle in poor condition. I agree to fetch him a new one in exchange for some money, so he gives me the armory key. Now you have to be stealthy as to not wake the gunsmith. Be sure not to trigger the... I want you to know that was really loud. Just pick them up and carefully displace the device. I snatch the weapon and offer it to the guard where I'm rewarded with cash and the exquisite dogshit AK. It's perfect in every way. A weapon of such high quality that you lose money selling it. The bartender was a soldier who had his arm shot off by an anti-tank rifle, so he can't properly serve, but he tells us about the comrade who did it to him, who went crazy after the death of his girlfriend, going on about how he could still see and hear her. There's a bounty out for him and that rifle sounds really useful, so I accept. Oh, you want to see how brutal this world is? Talk to this lady. You won't regret it, swear to God. First time playing, this was the sole motivator. I dashed out and began exploring every vantage point I could find, and I never found him. I found everything else, like the PSR base. With that, I have no words. Wow. You know, I don't make the best decisions in life. I'm not the most intelligent individual, but I think I'm gonna descend. This looks really scary. I think I'll jump and everything will be okay. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Believe it or not, the giant makeshift tower didn't house him either. You want to know where he was? Right below you. Run across this pipework and jump on this building and you'll find him bleeding out against a wall. I let him speak his mind so he can say goodbye. To who? No idea, but he's seeing things. Marie argues that it's just an hallucination, where he quotes, "She is real to me." And really, that's all that matters. I agree, Casper. All that matters is that she is here with him in his head, there for him in his final hours. But then he starts describing someone who is obviously Marie. Hey, you know, you're yapping a ton, my dude. I really need that rifle. Come on, I had to put that weapon to use, don't look at me like that. I want you to keep our sad boy sniper in mind for the future. Until then, we have two factions to choose from. Of course, I chose the PRS and not these dorks, because when I am sprinting down a hallway and I die because of your goofy ass traps, making me lose an hour of progress, I get a little upset. Regardless of who you talk to, first you have to walk past a bridge and climb your way down because they have destroyed it, and retrieve a data package. This area is very open and features a ton of verticality. I start by using stealth, but I mean, come on, it's a video game that goes out the window fast. Despite this, there are multiple paths that allow me to get an advantage on them. They discover my position, so I backtrack and I'm able to yet again get the drop on them. Good level design. Hang on, this one's personal. Regardless who you turn the packet into, you're given two tasks. Either you destroy the reactor. Oh, you know, that's probably what I jumped at. Yeah, I can see why that would harm me. The reactor in the PSR base, or you have to destroy an automated tank because they thought that was a good idea to have. It makes a lot more sense why the streets are abandoned now. Thankfully, I found some additional ammo for the anti-tank rifle earlier by accidentally exploring, so this should be easy. It's easy if you find Casper, and earlier I found a drum mag for the AK, which helps if you have an abundance of ammo. How'd I find that? By trying to find Casper. Exploration. Works every time. Also, if you needed more evidence that this game was in early access, the tanks prove that this game is indeed in early access. You don't even want to know how bad it was on launch day. The explosives don't work since I could never time them right. The drum mag indeed helps, but it's certainly not the fastest method. Funnily enough, going rules of nature on these motherfuckers works better until one point blanks you with an MG. Remember when I said you spent hours in the chasm? Part of that is because there is a good chunk to see and it's very fun to explore. Second part is that the tanks increase that significantly. Once the deed is done, the commander informs me that the train is once again operational, and I gladly board and vibe out to the music. So far so good. We're getting closer to our goal. The femcel let us into her house. Things are going great. Let's talk about the silly place. Marie awakens after our train crashes. She finds herself overlooking a large complex. Welcome to Belgrade. It's a level that's definitely talked about. It takes a horror-focused approach. It's where we get more information on Marie, as well as the weird psychological stuff that's associated with cyberpunk media. Wish the level wasn't shit. I have to say, this is probably my favorite background in the whole game. You can just see how expansive the city is. I love how the horrors that go on are just set in the middle of it. You're stripped of all your augments, leaving you with only a knife and oh hey, thanks Armchan. I didn't know this was here. Would have been nice if I knew this on launch. The visuals stand out the most here because the atmosphere is bleak and does a great job of making Belgrade feel genuinely sinister, especially the sound design. Reminds me of the random screams you'd hear in the Citadel in Half-Life 2. Look, there's even a reference to it in the final level. Now, I love what 9th Exodus was trying to do here, however, keyword trying. Not only is the difficulty curve ramped up, but Belgrade is a gigantic place. When I talked visuals, I also mean size. From the start, you can see how long the complex goes on for, and you're going to be exploring every last bit of it, interior and exterior. There is a segment where you're running down a set of stairs for like 2 whole minutes. Actually, no, this isn't even the stairs I was talking about. This is a completely different set. This is just the exterior. Level design wise, it's a confusing, often directionless feeling mess, but it does provide you with some replayability because of how much freedom you have to traverse. I was gonna take a route which led me to the silly rooms, but I accidentally flew down a garbage chute, which led me to the final area. Somehow, I have no idea. Now, Belgrade has one big issue that I think a lot of people can agree with me on, and that's regarding the saving. The first thing you'll hopefully notice is that you can't save your game. No manual saves, no quick saves, nothing. The only time you can save is in certain areas where this icon is displayed. However, other than journal updates, there isn't a single time you need to look up here for context clues. There isn't even a distinguished visual to help represent that you're near a save point either. Meaning yes, the random vent you enter that just happened to have oh wow, yeah, I wonder what that's a reference towards. Yeah, you better have noticed that icon because this is a save point, and you will die a lot in Belgrade. Meaning yes, I didn't know you could save. I spent 5 hours on Belgrade alone, trying to complete it without saving once. Every death setting me back to the train tracks. There was one instance where I had a 2-hour run, surviving the descent, sneaking my way through the interiors and carefully climbing down to the bottom, just trying to not take fall damage due to how rare healing stims were. The school, the ruins, the theater, the cannons, all of that just to make it near the end. Then I died immediately, which loaded me back to the beginning. Now, let's talk about the enemies, and first up we have the Wardens. Autonomous guardians of the facility. They ensure that the outsiders are swiftly dealt with, and any survivors are brought to their cells to be prepped for surgery that have their augments removed. There's a lot of that going on in this game, oh my god. Let me show you a clip that perfectly shows how it is to fight them. Oh shit! They're fast, and they will close that gap to spray you down. However, they are easy to exploit, as long as you have a VSS, and you don't miss. Also, since the devs really hate you, anytime one dies, it sprays the entire magazine from its weapon. Meaning you can't use it unless it's a Mosin, because that's the one exception, and it can be horrifying seeing one go off right next to you, and seeing that you're at a sliver of health once the gun stops firing. It's especially scary when they just so happen to be holding a weapon with 100 rounds. So that's how the guys in the ending of Jinro felt. Bet. They also make me question my sanity because when I was thinking how to deal with the mass blocking my exit, a PSR soul drive free ran forth and got deleted. Along with the Wardens. I don't know what happened, but I'm scared. This was the uncanniest moment I've ever experienced in a video game. This dude got folded. Not gonna lie, they are a pain to go up against. Then there are the dolls. They are creepy, to say the least. They lie in this mesmerized state until you're spotted, and when you are, they dart towards you. Let me tell you, the first time I saw this, I screamed. Here's me in real time getting scared by one of them. I wouldn't say they're as deadly as the Wardens, just use that shotgun and they go down easily, but they will still haunt your dreams. I don't know if they're failed experiments, but honestly, I don't want to know. All I know is that they're fast and they will chunk your health in seconds when you're spotted. Just give them a little headache and leave them to their devices. They'll be fine. I went back to record footage to show off the different paths you could take, and instead I sprinted past the Wardens and saw this. Oh dude, what the fuck? As I'm talking to a man who shouldn't be alive, I'm transported to the middle of nowhere. After taking in my surroundings, I enter, get scared from all the noises happening in the bathroom, and I complete the bathroom puzzle, work my way around to secure the boiler key, and I climb up to see a red woman holding a doll that looks the same as the ones we found in the facility. This is Stacia. Kind of? Question mark? I don't know. I'm not gonna explain it in this video. I also love how the buildings are just rising in the background. This is weird. I love it. We don't deserve this game. She knows Marie, knows her past, and it's clear that this isn't the first time they've met. She even mentions how the soldier we were talking to died 10 years ago. Whatever happened here has been happening for a long time, and Stacia vaguely hints that it's spreading while also deteriorating. Most of it I don't understand because I'm an idiot. Maybe the tower is an entity of its own. I mean, it's able to project hallucinations, some more subtle than others. She questions how Marie understands certain terms and concepts, and Marie's retort? Osmosis? Marie, what the fuck? It's implied Marie just has a set number of memories, nothing significant from the past, but it's vague because you have to beat the game to figure it out, and wait till 2026. Now you can't get a better understanding of what's happening by using the keycard she gives you after the cutscene, and you'll enter what is a combination of a holding cell and a school. Reading the notes, it's clear that it leans more into the experiments theory, but I won't talk about it anymore. Just find the psychiatrist's key and go through this door. You won't regret it. Now, we're not completely alone here because we find a familiar face. Casper. He's the sniper back from the chasm. I had to look back at that footage for that one, not gonna lie. He's aware he's dead, but somehow fully capable of helping out. Remember, the tower is weird. Cyberpunk weird stuff doesn't need to be explained if you present it well. I love it. I accept his offer to help, and once it's time to fight, he promptly unlocks it. Hey Casper, could you maybe, I don't know, hit them? This was a neat encounter. It established a continuity with the world and its characters, and now he's one of the few I will remember when recalling this game until it's finished. You know, other than Marie, the bad bitch, and the creepy red girl she's kind of hard to forget about. You have to shut down these gravity magnets that maintain the gravity or something. I don't know, I'm not looking back at the footage. I wish this level wasn't such a mess in its execution because it has the potential. It just needs a lot of tweaking to prevent the player base from tweaking out. Oh yeah, I forgot the final boss fight. I'm gonna keep it real with with you. Wait, my script autocorrected to Ito. My god, I can't escape it. It sucks. I know you can solve it peacefully from what I hear, but you'll probably not find that out on the first playthrough, and with how scarce every resource is, it quickly becomes a hell to deal with. The dolls won't stop spawning, getting close distorts your vision, so you want to know how you deal with it. 1, pray you picked up the Jinro gun. 2, look here. You think you have to reach that glowing red orb? Wrong. Instead, shoot the not so distinguished in any way but shaped sphere. Yeah, appreciate it, Casper, you were useless. Belgrade, the silly place. Good idea, kinda horrible implementation. It's a shame because, again, I love the idea, but it just needs work, and it probably filtered out many players, meaning they couldn't experience the best level, Carabash. Carabash is really good. It's a breath of fresh air because you're on the outskirts of the great city, so it stands out compared to the doom and gloom of the inner city. I love how obscure it is through the smog. I can't state how good this looks. Here you have the most freedom for how you want to tackle your objectives. Help the train guy, help the homeless guy, and power up the train yourself. Help these two so they give you a pass, which allows you inside the club so you can just vibe out. This doesn't help the mission at all. The guards are cute though. If you don't want to do that, just skip it by giving this dude some cigarettes and he will tell you the exact path to the button. Best part, he wasn't lying. How did she die? What? Here you can accept a quest from a group that runs the harbor in exchange for a free boat ride. So what I did was I helped out the two sisters, got a club pass, took out Ingrid, realized I didn't do it stealthily, so I sold everything I could for money and I ran all the way down to the harbor, taking the shortcut and a lot of fall damage because you were too lazy to take the stairs. Now, if this was a Bethesda game, you'd be forced to maybe pay the guard, and this would be an essential NPC. However, this is a good video game, so I hijacked the boat. Money that is useless beyond this point, or health that alcohol can fix. I think I know my answer. If you're kind of a psychopath, you could just sprint across the railway. Yeah, don't do this. I tried forcing my way through the door, but the alarm went off and it closed, so I wonder what would happen if I used a thermoptic camo here. What also makes Carabash cool is you have 3 locations you'll be playing in. Sure, the last is short, but it revolves around a timed investigation, where you need to find evidence to support one group or another, but if you don't care for any of that, you can just let them duke it out. Some of the better visual set pieces are here. I mean, come on, look at this, Blom-coded. Ignore her, she's not important. Either way, you have options. Even if you're only here for 10 minutes, I thought this was a nice change of pace. The whole narrative for this setting is there are piles of body bags you're gonna see. They're being prepped for conversion into weapons that can be thrown to the front lines, rather than just letting the soldiers die. Yeah, pretty dark. Love it. Now, once you arrive across the sea, you'll find yourself inside of a small urban center, where you again get to choose to support either the PRS or the communists. Spoiler alert, I didn't choose the latter. Oh my god, oh, you're fast, holy! Overall, Carabash is a great level. Features a ton of replay value, and overall, I think Peripeteia is just a damn good game. Sure, it has its problems, and I understated just how bad the jank can be at times, but there was just something that kept me invested. It's rare to ever get me invested in an early access game, but Peripeteia, I want to see more what Ninth Exodus has in store. The world, the gameplay, the freedom, and all the different paths you have, it makes me want to keep playing to see everything that it has to offer. In fact, I'm already replaying it. I enjoyed it that much. 10% of the reason is because it's a good game, the other 90%, Marie. I like games that are weird and have strange worlds to explore, and Peripeteia just feels refreshing. I seriously recommend that you at least wishlist it and keep your eye on it and wait for persistent progression along with some additional levels if you still aren't hooked on buying it. That or the vibes alone will just have you buy it. I'm not joking, you're gonna be aura farming in the rain, and I wasn't kidding about most of the soundtrack being breakcore. With all that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out, have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Also, give Marie a fatter ass.